Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. The video I'm making today is one that's been a long time coming. I finally was able to get my hands on the new 2020 iPhone SE second generation, but before I can put out my review of that phone, I have to bid a very fond farewell to a phone that I've had in my pocket more than once and one that I've really come to love, the iPhone XR. Okay, we're gonna try something new today. Let's do a fast travel, shall we? We're here. All right, now that we're here, we're gonna go for a little walk and take some pictures. Let's go. Alright, so as long as we're here, I'm gonna show...
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to...
Alright, today was a lot of fun, but all good things have to come to an end. We got places to be, things to do, so it's time to head back to the cars. Home again, and it was a lot of fun to get to go out today with the iPhone XR for one last time. I first got the iPhone XR when I was upgrading from my old iPhone 7 Plus about 2 years ago, and then most recently I switched into an iPhone XR when my Pixel 2 XL, which at the time I was daily driving, broke. When I first got this phone, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little underwhelmed by it. I really expected it to be more of a novel experience. I mean, this was my first time going to an iPhone with no home button. This was my first time going to an iPhone with Face ID. And frankly, I kind of missed the old Touch ID. Now that being said, my opinion did change as time went on. So let's talk about that. I'm going to start off with the bad things, which, thankfully, isn't a very long list. First off, Face ID. It is definitely a convenience to have Face ID when you're unlocking your phone and when you're trying to purchase things on the App Store. Being able to buy something with just a look and having it automatically take your password from remembering your face is super cool. And it's also quite useful if you're trying to multitask or do something like talk to another person and you just really quickly need to be like, hang on, boop. Or alternatively, if you've just finished washing your hands or your hands are dirty and there might be some water or some other grime on your fingers. Trying to get a thumbprint scanner to work when your hands are covered is a nightmare. So definitely it has its uses. But the reason Face ID gets on my naughty list for the iPhone XR is for only one thing: inconsistency. A good example of this is while driving. Disclaimer, don't text and drive. If I want to unlock my phone in order to play some music, you have to either turn your head to match the phone, or you have to take the phone off of wherever it's mounted and look at it. Building an iPhone that requires you to take your eyes off the road if you want to change the song.
Not good, Apple.
Another complaint I have about the iPhone XR is the camera. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good camera for regular photography. However, the ability to only zoom in 5 times zoom is definitely a little bit annoying when you want to get a really nice shot of something that's just a little bit far away. I understand that part of the reason it has that single module was to help keep costs down when they were manufacturing the iPhone XR. I still wish it had the telephoto zoom. And for the record, I will always pick a telephoto lens over a wide-angle lens if given the option. Just my opinion. Well, now we can move into some of the good stuff, and there's a lot more to talk about here. The iPhone XR is just hands down a phenomenally well-made iPhone. Like I said before, in spite of some minor inconveniences in terms of when you can't use it, Face ID is really nice to have, and it makes logging in and out of applications and purchasing things on the App Store a breeze. One thing that I can definitely attest to having had a good experience with on the XR that was a whole selling point of the phone to begin with is the battery life. The iPhone XR can easily last you a day and a half. sometimes longer if you're not a heavy user like me. On an average workday, I would take this thing off the charger at around 10 a.m. By the time I got into work, I would be down to about 93%. I would come home after a full day of heavy use with still around 40 to 50% battery life. And I guarantee you, most of you aren't using your phones as much as I do. Another thing I love about this phone is the screen. I've never been one to complain about a phone being too small. Being able to one-hand a phone is definitely nice. What makes the XR such a nice sweet spot is the fact that it's big, but without being so big that I can't reasonably manage it in one hand. Speaking of the screen, it's an LCD panel, not one of the newer OLED panels on a lot of more expensive smartphones, so it's going to be less energy intensive and it's going to take up less battery. This is one of the major contributing factors to the iPhone XR being really solid when it comes to battery life. Another good thing about the iPhone XR, wow, the list just keeps going on and on. The iPhone XR was released in 2019, right after the iPhone XS and XS Max. What that means is that when it came out, the latest software version was iOS 12. iPhones and Apple products in general typically get about 4 to 5 years of software support from Apple before they're cut off completely. This means that having started its software cycle in 2019, if you're buying it now, it's a 3.5 to 4 year investment. Minimum. And that right there can be enough to make a phone worth your money. Speaking of money, let's talk about pricing. The iPhone XR right now can be bought brand new from Apple for $599, making it the second cheapest iPhone sold brand new right now, after the iPhone SE. If you can afford to buy this thing brand new, I would absolutely recommend doing it. You'll be getting a mint condition phone, and you'll be getting something with a mint condition battery as well. Now, as some of you may already know, the iPhone 11 is only $100 more new from Apple. Should you just spend the extra $100 and get the newer iPhone? Well, that depends. Is $100 worth it for you to get 5 instead of 4 years of software support and also an ultra-wide-angle lens? If you're looking for an opinion, I would say no. Save your money, and don't let it get to you if somebody comes up flashing their new iPhone 11 while you went and bought the XR, because regardless of what anybody else has, if you buy the XR, you're buying a really good phone. Let's recap. If you're looking for a phone that has very good battery life, a large display, a decent enough camera, and is all for the right price, the iPhone XR gets a solid recommendation from Tech for Everyone. Thank you folks, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was certainly a lot of fun to make. I enjoyed having one less good go at it with the iPhone XR, and if you buy this phone, I promise you're gonna love it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to leave any comments down below if you have any questions or want to submit any recommendations for future content, because remember, this is Tech for Everyone, and that means it's tech for you. Peace out, guys.